Our second section is around this notion of the digital business and the digital workplace, and I thought I would set it up with this visual. And kind of first, the digital workplace, and this is really in that realm of content creation and collaboration. You know, just tremendous adoption of the Microsoft tools lately, Outlook and Office 365, Microsoft Teams. Although no shortage of a need for a good ECM system to go along with that, I would say. But that's the digital workplace. The digital business is much more process-centric, governance-centric, and you know we do so much to integrate with Salesforce and SAP and some of those other systems. And really, if you look in the middle, our mantra for OpenText Content Services is OpenText connects content to the digital business. So this is a very important sort of transformational concept that we rally around. And you know, why would you do that? You know, one of the top reasons is to make that content available to those downstream processes. It's very likely that you have some work you're doing in Teams and Outlook and stuff that's very relevant to Salesforce, for example. When you do this, you bring better governance, and you know, you're most likely extending your investment in some of those lead applications as well. So Mark's going to go a bit deeper on that concept of the digital workplace and the digital business.
Yeah, let's have a look at the vital relationship between content and digital processes. So the process, we put that in the middle because for most people, this is really, they are working in business processes most of the day. So the process is in the middle. And content plays a very vital role in business processes. It could be that content documents are kicking off a process. There may be a complaint letter coming in from a customer. There are many steps in a process where content is a vital asset to drive forward with the process. And in many cases, documents or correspondence or communication can be the output of the process as well, so where communication need to be sent out to certain stakeholders. So what we do with content in context is basically connecting the content to the business process, making it available in the process and giving stakeholders of the process that you see here around the process access to content and process information at the same time in the application they want to work with. And many times this is Microsoft, many times this is Salesforce or SAP, or many times it is also the native interfaces that we as OpenText provide to our users. So basically what we do is bringing together content, the process, and the users that are dealing with content and the process. So when we apply this pattern to SAP, how does it look like? So we have capture, extended ECM, and document generation. I've talked about that in the visual that we had before. And we deliver the solution that exactly are filling these steps in the process. So if you orchestrate these processes to end-to-end solutions, you basically support the end-to-end process. For the inbound part, we have capture solutions. We will talk about that a bit later. So we have an intelligent capture solution for SAP that integrates with SAP solution. We have an extended ECM solution that puts content in the business context of SAP processes. And we have document generation solutions for SAP. The product is called Document Presentment for SAP, where you can automate the process of creating correspondence, documents, contracts, quotes, whatsoever. So last year we talked about extended ECM and Documentum, and that is basically also a question we got from many customers. So we want to announce today that extended ECM Documentum for SAP solutions is available today. The journey we want to take you with us is upgrading to Documentum D2, using the smart view of Documentum D2. This is the first step. Then we give you all the benefits of extended ECM with SAP connectivity, with workspaces that you can use together with your Documentum D2 system. And we provide a productized offering, extended ECM Documentum for SAP, which brings these things together. So you get the same benefits that you know from extended ECM for SAP, now also for Documentum D2. And it looks even very similar. So the Smart View is our new universal UI language, if you will. So we have here a purchase order in SAP, and that automatically creates a workspace that stores all its content in Documentum repository. And with the Smart View of Documentum D2, you can access this purchase order content either in the Documentum D2 Smart View directly, or embedded, for example, in the SAP Fiori screens. So the same thing you may know already from extended ECM for SAP, this is now available also for Documentum. It's available today, so if you have SAP, if you have Documentum, that is certainly something you should look at. And there is a dedicated session for that. It's SAP 208. So if you're interested, I can recommend going to this session. It's on Thursday this week. I have another announcement to make, and that is also a true game changer on how we work together with SAP. It's basically lifting the whole partnership we have with SAP to its next level. And this level is all about cloud. So what we agreed on with SAP is that OpenText delivers content services for the SAP Cloud Platform that runs natively on SAP Cloud Platform and that integrate into all the applications of the SAP Intelligence Suite. So if that is S4HANA, C4HANA, SuccessFactors, Ariba, there will be content services in the underlying SAP Cloud Platform delivered by OpenText that can be consumed in these leading SAP applications. Everything in the cloud. It's enterprise-scale document management capabilities that become the standard in these SAP applications. So this is really a game changer, and we will talk about that topic also in the keynotes later today and also in Mui's keynote tomorrow. And on top of these standard services, we will then, in the next months, also deliver premium services such as capture or document generation to again complete the picture that I've introduced before with capture, extended ECM, content management, and document generation, and we will make that available on the SAP Cloud Platform. So this is really a big thing. But we don't forget also to invest and innovate in the other ecosystems. Salesforce has been one of the tremendous successful ecosystems over the last year. We have lots of new customers for our Salesforce solution, and we are really proud of the deep integration we built with Salesforce. We started a few years back with an extended ECM for Salesforce. Many times that is kind of the anchor in the middle where we look at first. But then again, we want to complete the picture. So just a few weeks back, we released a new Extreme for Salesforce that automates document generation processes in Salesforce. Contracts, quotes, and other documents that you want to generate out of Salesforce processes with Salesforce data embedded is available today. And the missing piece is on the capture side, but we are working on this one as well. We have already our capture solution in the cloud. We will see that in a bit. And we will integrate that with Salesforce as well so that you have the same benefits here also on the Salesforce side. And Microsoft. We fully acknowledge that many of you use Office 365 across the organization. And we have Microsoft integration for quite a while. What we do here is an even deeper integration into Office 365, and in this example, Microsoft Teams. We know many organizations use Microsoft Teams for collaboration, for content exchange, and we integrate extended ECM for Office 365 in Microsoft Teams. That means, first of all, you can access extended ECM content in Microsoft Teams. Again, when you look here on the screen, you see the components that are delivered by the Smart View components, but we don't stop there. We want to do more than just content exposure. We want to automate the whole process of how you deal with Microsoft Office 365 assets. So what we can do today with the EP6 version, we can automatically trigger a creation of a Microsoft team from extended ECM for Office 365. Think you have a project or a sales opportunity, and you have workspaces for that in extended ECM. We can automatically create the team. If you need collaboration, we can synchronize the memberships between extended ECM workspace memberships and Microsoft Teams membership. We can let users collaborate in Microsoft Teams while making sure that all the content is always stored in the OpenText repository. And even if you want to close down the collaboration and close the team, we can do that automatically driven by extended ECM. So this is what we call lifecycle automation for Office 365. Next one is intelligent automation. And intelligent automation, Fred already talked about that a bit. It started actually with extended ECM. When you look at extended ECM, it is actually an automation product. So you have a business object in SAP, let's say a purchase order, and automatically we create the content structures for that. We know what type it is, we pick the right workspace template, we create the workspace, and then we synchronize everything between the leading application and the content application. If that is data, roles, access permissions, classification, structure, relationships, everything. SAP is a leading system, and the workspace is fully synchronized. And when we bring that back with a smart view, you close the loop, and from the end user perspective, maybe a purchase officer working in SAP, he creates a purchase order, and immediately the workspace is there. He doesn't even see the magic behind the scenes. So this is really unprecedented depth of integration and automation. And we want to lift that to the next level. So intelligent automation for us means to bring together awareness, what is happening in the leading system, such as that we know what is happening in Salesforce and SAP, but also that we know what is happening in content applications and in the Office 365 world. This gives us a full insight of things that are happening in the leading system. And we combine that with information, the information we get from the leading systems or the information that we drive with intelligent automation and cognitive services that we make use of this information and derive meaning from that information. And if we combine the two things, we can really do really clever things. Intelligent automation like personalization, showing everybody the right things, content automation, or governance and compliance automation. Another perfect example of intelligent automation is Capture. And Capture has come a long way. So it started to be something like scanning and OCR. But these days, Capture is different. Capture is universal. Capture is everywhere. We distribute it. That means we bring Capture to all the users. It uses machine learning and advanced recognition. It is deeply integrated into enterprise processes like extended ECM, a Capture for SAP, a Capture for Salesforce. And we deliver also deployment option for Capture in the cloud. So looking at the portfolio, for those of you that have already some of our Capture solutions, and we have some of them, they're all very powerful, but it was a bit confusing that we had multiple Capture solutions. So what we did is we streamlined our offering and worked hard to bring together the best out of the different Capture offerings we had. For off-cloud and private cloud, the new offering will be called OpenText Intelligent Capture. And there will be a dedicated session on that. That brings together Captiva and the OpenText Capture Center. For the public cloud, we took what the ECD company already had with OpenText Snap, that was a cloud capture app, and cloud capture services from Captiva, and introduced an all-new OpenText Core Capture solution. That is one of these core branded OT2 applications. And for SAP, we had dedicated capture solutions before, and now we consolidated that also on the same technology stack, that all the technology advances we do around machine learning are benefiting all the different options we have. So intelligent capture for on-premise, core capture for the cloud, and the variants for SAP that are using the same technology. This brings us to the next demo. And I'm happy to welcome Darren on stage. Darren is one of my product managers. He owns everything Capture. And Darren, what are you going to show us today?
Thanks, Mark. So today I'm going to show how a knowledge worker can use Core Capture to scan documents into Core Collaboration. So here's my Core Collaboration screen. I've got nothing in it. I've got a couple of documents that have come to my desk, and now I want to get those into the system. So I switch over to Core Capture. What you're looking at here, the tiles on the screen represent capture flows. So they're little mini workflows that can be configured for specific types of documents. Some people like to arrange these by department or sometimes by type of document. And it specifies whether there's going to be image enhancement done, classification, extraction, and what the export is. I've got some vendor invoices, so let me go ahead and start with that. From this screen, if I had a scanner, maybe next time you will approve the expense report for a mobile scanner, but since I don't have one.
Let's see how you do today.
I'll just go ahead and take some scans I have on my hard drive. And as you can see, the system is immediately processing the pages. As soon as the first page comes in, it starts going down the capture workflow. In this case, we're doing image enhancement, we're doing classification, that'll be used for document separation. We're also doing extraction. And it found 2 documents, 4 pages in total. Let's go ahead and click onto the organize step. This next screen is where you can do document assembly. You can, if pages are out of order, you can move the page order, you can split to a new document. You can also edit the document if you need to change brightness or contrast or rescan. In this case, everything looks good. At the top of the screen, you'll see a little icon trail that shows the workflow step I'm on. I've done scan and import. I'm currently on organize. I've got 2 steps left to go. I'm just going to go ahead and click next and move on to the next step. It says it detected 5 issues, and so it'll kick me into the review step. If there were no issues, it would take me immediately into submission. I'll go ahead and click Fixed Issues. What you can see here is that it missed recognition on a couple of fields. That's because I configured it so I could stop and show you the interface. If I click down on the fields on the right, you'll notice on the left on the image, it'll show you the actual zone which the data comes from. We have different types of form elements, list boxes, drop downs, and we have a special pop-out element for line items because line items can get long and take up quite a bit of screen real estate. There's even a capability for you to pop this out into a separate browser tab, and you could put that in a separate monitor. I like having 2 monitors, and that lets me do things very efficiently. All right, the other thing I can show you here is you can also set up rules to look for various types of data, whether it's protected health information, other private information, or in this case, possible import or export tariff issues. So I've identified here with a rule that this guardian angel is a possible import tariff. And I want to make sure that's handled on the back end through a special workflow. So I set a flag here, import tariff alert. That's about it for this invoice. Let me go ahead and finish completing it. You'll see we're missing the invoice number. As I move the cursor over the image, it tells me I'm looking for the invoice number. And if I move up, it'll show me the data on the form underneath on the image that it OCR'd. And it'll also tell me if that data would give me an error. So I don't want to pick the date. I want the invoice number, and the date is right here, and everything else is good, and I move on to the next document. Here the invoice number, again, I'll pick that one up. And before I move down to the bill to date, let me point out something really interesting on this invoice. This is a live invoice. It's had the personal data scrubbed. It actually doesn't have an invoice date anywhere on it. And for those of you who have ever worked in accounts payable, not having an invoice date on the invoice is a problem. You always need to have one in your AP system of record. There's lots of rules that companies will set up. In this case, I've set a rule up in Core Capture. Say, hey, is there a ship date? And yes, there is a ship date. It's right down here. Well, if there's a ship date, let's go ahead and set the invoice date to the ship date. So in that case, I just need to rubber band the bill to and move to the next error. Now the next error is the salesperson. This salesperson is Sales Incorporated. It's not one of my approved purchasing agents. That's going to cause a problem. So I've got an other in here, and I can use that field again on the back end to trigger a workflow so it's handled appropriately. Everything looks good here. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. Tells us we've got 2 documents, 4 pages. They're all classified. There's no remaining data issues. I can go ahead and submit. And this is then going to kick it over into Core Collaboration.
So that means Core Capture and Core Collaboration work nicely together. The document is finally stored in the repository with all the data.
That's right. And the way machine learning is going to play into this is that all the actions that I took as an operator get fed into the machine learning engine. So the fields that weren't recognized that I identified, those will be identified next time by the engine. And even the fields which I didn't do anything on, they have importance too, because they confirm that our recognition is correct. So the machine learning is constantly evaluating and improving its recognition.
Great. Super example for intelligent automation. Thanks a lot,
Yep.
Darren. That was a great demo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to Fred.
Thank you.